Hey guys, welcome to chapter 3 of Mirabelle Gets Up to Mischief. So let's recall what happened in the last page. So in the last page, we see Mirabelle, the dad, the mother, and Wilbur all getting ready to fly to the fairy festival. Now let's see what's going on in chapter 3. Chapter 3. We had to fly quite a long way to the place where the midsummer dance was to be held. By the time we got there, it was dusk and I was hungry, but I still couldn't help gasping. My mum, Wilbur, and I circled about the party on our broomsticks. A big fire had been lit in the middle of a clearing in a huge forest, and all around it, multicolored fairy lights had been strung through the trees. There were tables upon tables of delicious fairy food: strawberry cakes, butterscotch biscuits, flower petal sandwiches. My tummy started to rumble. Fairy food was best. I don't blame them. I mean, look at all this food. Look at all the fairies. And look, there's a vampire and a fairy. And there she is. If you guys know who this person is, let me know in the comments. Because I know who she is, but I want to let you guys figure it out yourselves. Look, said Dad, pointing. There's my sister, Cordelia, and your Uncle Bartholomew, too. He flew down towards a crowd of fairies, and we all followed. I was excited to see my cousin Isadora Moon. Isadora is half fairy like me, except her dad, Bartholomew, is a vampire, which makes her a vampire fairy. Let me know in the comments if you would rather be a fairy vampire or a fairy witch. Let me know in the comments. Oh, good, said Mom. We won't be the only ones out tonight. Isadora, I yelled, landing on the ground with a skid and giving her a big hug. Huh. And look right here. There's Mirabelle giving Isadora a nice hug. So sweet. Mirabelle, said Isadora. She looked pleased to see me, and her little bat wings fluttered with excitement. Pink Rabbit bounced up and down beside her, and I gave his head a pat. Pink Rabbit used to be Isadora's favorite cuddly toy, but her mum magicked him alive with her fairy wand. I always feel a little bit jealous of Pink Rabbit, actually. I wish I had my own special pet. Mom has a black cat, but he's not very nice. He always hisses at me. Let's go and eat some food, I said. Have you seen the cakes? Oh my. Yes, said Isadora, but I was waiting for you. We started to push through the crowd towards the food tables, leaving our parents to chat about boring things. Look at those, said Isadora, pointing to a table that was full of pink sponge sugar clouds, glistening with my tiny sugar diamonds. Fairy floss, I said. I love fairy floss. Me too, said Isadora. We each took one and then wandered toward the big fire, both happily munching and talking at the same time. Then we saw a group of young fairies about the same age as us, clustered on the grass. They were busy making flower garlands for their hair. Now that looks fun. I think Isadora is having more fun than Mirabelle right now. Let's make one, said Isadora. So we sat down together and began to twist flowers and leaves into crowns, shapes. Mine just wouldn't go right. I kept snapping the stems by mistake, and petals kept falling off my flowers. In the end, I sighed and threw it down on the grass. I'm not good at making flower crowns, I said. I'll help you in a minute, said Isadora. She had made a beautiful garland that was sitting perfectly on top of her messy hair, and now she was busy making a smaller one for Pink Rabbit. It's okay, I said, suddenly feeling a bit bored of flower crowns. My fingers were starting to twitch, and I reached inside my dress to feel the two potion bottles that were resting against my chest. Huh, and look, there's Isadora, already looking beautiful in her nice little flower tiara, is what we'll call it. Now that's cool. It felt good to have brought a little of witch magic with me to this very flowery and fairyish celebration. It made me feel a little bit more like me. Isadora, I whispered, suddenly feeling an urge to be just a tiny bit mischievous. Do you want to know a secret? What secret? Asked Isadora, looking up. I reached into my dress and lifted out the two little potion bottles. They sparkled and glistened in the evening sunlight. Isadora's eyes went big and round. Mirabelle, she said, you're not. You're not supposed to bring witch magic to a fairy celebration. I know, I said, but look how pretty the bottles are. What's inside them? Asked Isadora. One's dragon breath, I said, but I don't know about the other. I just found it in my mum's potion room. I shook the little bottle so that the sparkly purple seeds tinkled against the glass. I wonder what it does, I said, starting to feel intrigued. Maybe we should go to the woods and find out. Look at Mirabelle holding both potions with a mischievous grin. I guess she doesn't really care soon. Isadora shook her head. Your witch magic always gets us into trouble. It wouldn't, I said. I promise. We could go and experiment in secret. No one would never know. Isadora looked worried. I don't think it's a good idea, she said. Just then, some music started to play, and fairies all around us got up and started flittering towards the huge fire. The dancing's about to start, said Isadora. Looking relieved, we can't miss the dancing. Come on! She held out her hand for me to take, but I shook my head. I'll catch up with you in a minute, I said. I need to finish my flower crown. You go. You love dancing. Oh, there's Isadora and Pink Rabbit with a serious expression on their face. And Mirabelle, still mischievous as always. Wonder what's going to happen next. Isadora didn't look like she believed me, but she got up anyway, took Pink Rabbit's paw, and disappeared into the crowd. I stared over at the fire and spotted Mom and Dad beginning to dance. I could just see Mom's black pointed boots poking out from under her pale mauve fairy dress. I knew she would be finding it hard to be fairy for the night too, especially as she's a full-blown witch. I stayed on the grass for a few minutes fiddling with my flower crown, trying to resist the overwhelming urge that had come over me to sneak off into the forest and do a little bit of magic. I had promised myself that I wouldn't do anything with tiny potions tonight. Oops. And more importantly, I had promised Dad that I would be good all night and not do any witchy magic. But the feel of the bottles against my skin was irresistible. I loved experimenting with making potions. It was my favorite thing to do. I stood up and turned away from the campfire, walking in the opposite direction towards the trees. It will be fine, I told myself. As I walked deep into the woods, I'll just go and do a little bit of magic on my own. No one will ever know. Dad will never know, and then I'll go join in with everybody. Well, we are at chapter 4. I hope you guys enjoyed this chapter so far in this book. If you guys do, please let me know in the comments what you guys think. And I'll see you guys all in chapter 4 of Mirabelle Gets Up to Mischief. And also, let me know in the comments on what you guys think of the book so far. Ciao, guys!